We're going to turn now to Admiral Robert Natter. He is joining me now. He is a retired U.S. Navy four-star admiral and a former 7th Fleet commander. Sir, you've heard the news of the day, no doubt. Let me ask you first off, can we defend against this weapon?
We have, I would say, limited defense capabilities against this weapon, depending on how it is delivered. I certainly agree with Senator DeMint that we need to invest heavily and quickly in upgrading our capabilities with missile defense. We have gone too slowly in that regard, and the sequestration bounds that have been existent for the last 4 or so years have got to be lifted. The Congress has got to get responsible in this regard, and there's got to be significant investment in missile defense. Having said that, we will never have 100% reliability in shooting a missile down once it's fired. There will always be that threat, and this is a very, very serious situation that we find ourselves in now.
Yeah, what you're saying is a lot more dire than I think a lot of us have heard before this. So you're saying we have limited capability at this point to shoot it down. Do you believe, as they are boasting, that it could reach the American mainland?
Again, it depends on the delivery. If it's fired from North Korea, it is an intercontinental ballistic missile. We have some good capability. It's all about kinematics and the areas where we do have capability against such a missile.
Yeah, what would be some of the other options if you're talking about if they weren't firing it from the mainland? That's how you started that. What are other scenarios that we would be on the lookout for?
There is no doubt that the best defense is to take them out before they're fired. That is by far the most reliable defense that we can have for our country. Having said that, I do believe that we've got to continue to work harder with China, get China involved, as Senator DeMint said, and try and bring the North Korean regime down to either sanity or to get them out of there.
How do you do that? How do you take out those weapons before they're fired?
Well, you've got to fire them before they fired themselves. We have intelligence on the location of many of them. I don't want to pretend that we should be talking about what number that is, but we do have surveillance systems, and we do have intelligence systems that would give us a good indication of where these things are located.
How reliable do you think that is?
Well, it's not 100% by any stretch, but if you can shoot these or destroy these missiles before they're fired, you have a much better chance of then taking on any that you miss.
Yeah. Do you, or, just obviously I'm not a military person, but just playing out the logical scenario, if you were able to take out all of them but 2 or 1, wouldn't they immediately fire that last one?
Oh, I think they would, but we would certainly be prepared to intercept them. And we would have that capability both in the initial trajectory and also in the down turn in the trajectory.
And what do you think is, other possibilities that people have raised is, trying to topple the regime, whether that means squeezing them or, financially, or is there a military option to toppling the regime? Is that harder, easier, more dangerous than the other options we've talked about?
Well, I'd say it's equally dangerous. Again, those steps would be much more readily achievable if we had China. We can't forget that a nuclear holocaust in the Korean Peninsula is going to affect China in a big way. So they have a vested interest in making sure that this doesn't happen as well. So I would suggest that the discussions with China are going to get much more reasonable and I would hope productive.
All right. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
You're welcome, Melissa.